Thank you. All right, 4 bars of fame. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, do you want me to play it alone without having to play it against the click?
Yeah, please.
That's it. How many of you know that? You know it? Want to play it? No, I'd love to. I might learn something. Come on. Come on.
It's like a dream come true. Oh my God.
You gotta relax
Not
now.
set up the right.
No. Okay, one more time. Very close.
That's the cheater way.
Yeah, do it again. Do it again. One more time. The whole thing. Here, let me show you how to do it.
Please do.
Stand over here. So you got it. It's. The weirdest thing that is throwing every drummer that's tried to do it is I start that last roll here. So the 1 is here. Then I play an 8th note bass drum thing. So it kind of builds it, right? Right?
No, I'm done. He's going to pass out.
Anybody else? Anybody else know it?
I don't know it.
Huh? You don't know it?
Is that a Krupa thing from the rear back?
You know what? It probably is. I would bet that it is. Because like I said, Krupa was so ingrained in me. The fill is definitely Buddy Rich, Krupa, and Danny, you know? Probably, I don't know what's more of what, but a lot of Krupa in it. Exactly. You know, the Is it? So, you got it?
Hey, Dan, that was a drum solo from Now More Than Ever, on number 5. That song. 5th album.
Oh, I think you're saying, oh, yeah, that's your gun. That's 5/4. I think, wait a minute, where's your 3? 3. What do you got with the full
You do great tribal.
yeah, that's the drums. Drums are jungle. That's why I studied, and Art Blakey, you know.
Awesome.
Yep. Any other questions? Or we, yeah.
The ceremony tonight was on the anniversary of your Carnegie Hall album.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh.
What was it like playing that week at Carnegie Hall?
Interesting.
Did you feel like you made it at that point? Or is it like, well,
I'll tell you what, it was, you could have fooled me. I mean, not that we sold every night out for a week, but it was that Carnegie Hall is not really made for electric music, and so we struggled and struggled, and then.
for Chicago album, I gotta tell you.
Well, but the first part of it is, yeah, but don't you, I mean,
The
those
guitar solos on that album are
phenomenal. Well, Terry saved us. What happened was I think the first day and a half we were horrible. The horns are overblowing. The singers were out of tune. Nobody could hear it. And my temples were dragging. And we finished, we were doing South California Purples where we had to get to the end and Terry does that obligato guitar thing out by himself and he took it and he gave me a nod and we just went off into a jam and it went to another, the stuff we're playing is ridiculous with Peter, Robert and Terry and I, and then from that point on it was just to the moon. Yeah, but Terry,
That's like the best guitar solo in history.
yeah, there's some great stuff on there. And then I've heard stuff that's just Sing a Mean Tune Kid is just crazy, ridiculous drum part. Yes.
When you guys first started out, I'm talking when you were still in Chicago before you guys were moved to LA. I mean, how hard was it for you guys to get established? Because let's face it, the closest thing to like the in-your-face like jazz funk that you guys were doing, you had the Buckinghams, you had the Crying Shames, the Scratch in the Sky. You know, that was as close to jazz like in your area that they got, but it was still pop. And you guys come with a full-blown horn. Did any club owners tell you, hey, this is a little overblown, this isn't what we're looking for? Or,
Yeah, once we went to original, what happened was, to answer your question, we were doing a lot of R&B, which they loved. The James Brown, Sam and Dave, the people loved it. And then we got signed by Jim Guercio, and we started doing original arrangements and changed. Like we had an arrangement of "Hold On, I'm Coming" that was what we called psychedelic. It was amazing, but we started getting fired, because we weren't playing the dance kind of stuff and straight ahead. We were mixing it in with our own and then original arrangements. So yeah, there was some they loved brass was a big thing back then, but not so much in rock bands. But once we started stretching out and going into our own thing, it was a bit of a transition. And so we went to LA, and even when we were first in LA, it was weird.
we got fired one time for doing You Keep Me Hanging On by Vanilla Fudge.
Yeah. I forgot. We got fired for doing it. The club owner in Milwaukee used to say, he'd come up the wall and he'd say, "Okay, a belly rubber," which meant a slow dance, And we did a Frank Zappa song. And he came up to Walt and he said, he cursed at him. I don't know if the little boy's still here, but he's gone. He came up and he said, "Walt, you're a real asshole," right? And then Bobby, he was Bobby at the time, had like his piano stool and he said, "Fuck you, Zoe." The guy's name was Zoe Mohovius, his Greek guy. He said, "Fuck you, Zoe." And the guy goes, "Okay, you're fired." And all the bouncers came, to kind of so literally we got fired on the spot. But yeah, and we started getting fired a lot. I mean, because people weren't getting it, And that's when we called Guercio and we said, "If you're going to bring us out to LA, you better do it now. We're starving." So we did. Yes.
Were you happy the way Chicago went in the direction in the 80s, or?
Well, I was part of that. I was part of that decision. So for drum-wise, no, it wasn't nearly as interesting or cool for me. But, we'd kind of come to an impasse, and the band had become dysfunctional from drugs and just being burnt out, And so I brought in David Foster, and that really invigorated the band. But David had a great respect for the band, and but he wanted to come in and do it his way, which is what we needed because we'd become like a bad democracy, and with so much compromising going on, it was like so watered down, it wasn't good. You can't necessarily, you can compromise yourself into mediocrity, really, Like I don't want to step on the, your song's okay, but it's really, instead of saying, your song sucks, we're not going to do it. So we needed somebody to be strong in the studio, and he was. That's why I brought him in, because I knew that's what we needed. Yes.
What do you do to stay in good physical shape to keep doing this?
Try to eat good, as good as I still have some kind of bad eating habits, but not too bad. I work out, I mountain bike, I do Pilates. I do a lot of yoga stretching in the morning. I have to stretch every day, a lot. And just keep doing it. Work out, I do do some lifting. And before I had my foot surgery, which I had it in December 23rd, and it's now just healing, so I'll start swimming. I was swimming, and I'm going to get back to that. Yeah.
You're like 40 now, right?
Yes. Thank you.
But I'm 20.
Yeah, then you're 20. What?
Danny, when you guys,
hooked up with Gershio or was signed by him, was that before he produced Blood, Sweat, and Tears?
Yes.
And all
Oh
that?
yeah, it was before.
And were you guys, I guess, rehearsing and doing everything when he did that album? It became a big hit, right? Like, and they were like one of the, I guess, besides Buckingham's band, the Horns. How did you guys feel? What did that, you know? Did you guys like were motivated by that? Or,
Yeah, it was the Buckinghams were good friends of ours, so the brass on the Buckinghams was cool. You know, it was really that's where Gershio got his name, doing the Buckinghams and using brass on that. And so he initially signed Terry to a band that he called the Illinois Speed Press, which was more of a rock band, and Terry was supposed to play bass. And then and Walt was going to stop playing clubs and stuff like that and focus on being second chair of Chicago Symphony. And I talked to Walt and said, you know, I really hate to lose you. You know, don't stop. You know, let's put a horn band together. And we had talked about putting horn bands together anyways because we both missed playing with horns because the first band I was in with Walt was a horn band. So, did I answer your question? I tend to go off. It's really.
When Blood, Sweat, and Tears became a hit, though, did that give you guys a lot of incentive?
It pissed us off. Are you kidding? How would you feel? Your producer just produced. It was like your life is on your livelihood is on the line, and he just went and produced Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And it's like, and not only is it a hit, it wins a Grammy. It's the record of the year. It's like, oh my gosh.
Well,
But
wasn't it advantageous for him, like with his connections, to help you guys?
well, the inside story is that he made a deal with Clive Davis. If I do, okay, I'll do Blood, Sweat, and Tears, but you have to sign Chicago Transit Authority, and he did. So, I guess it was advantageous, but it didn't at the time. It felt terrible, to be honest. I didn't like it at all. I was pissed off.
Sorry.
You don't have to be sorry. I said some choice words to him too. Let me get this guy first, okay? Yeah.
Danny, could you run down a few songs that, like, the second tape that Robert or Peter brought in and you said, oh my God, this is like a flat out hit, and then maybe songs that you thought were going to be a hit and never quite, you know, got over that threshold? Can you think of any songs that, like, from the first chord you said, wow, this is killer? Like maybe If You Leave Me Now or something like that?
Well, no, I didn't think so. Believe me now, I was like, you know, it was pretty boring, I thought. And then I heard Peter, because I cut the track, and I basically, I've been studying with Joe Jones, so I was looking for any opportunity to do brushes, right? And, you know, so it was like, you know, Peter played this song for me. It was up at the ranch, and, you know, so. So I had, you know, I had my chance to do brushes, and these brushes are too wide open to do my part, but it was just, and honestly, it was so boring, I thought. But as I turned out, I had this bass drum part. The horns, Jimmy Haskell, the string arranger, told me he used my kicks to do those ba 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 ba. So you just never know. I mean, you know. So I came up with this kind of drum part, you know, with the bass, along with Peter's bass part. But the string arrangement actually was, a lot of it was written off my drum part. Same thing with Searching So Long, you know, where you hear, you know, they were following my fills. It was cool.
Great song.
So yeah, it is a great song. Oh, it's a beautiful song. I remember, you know, being in England, and it was the #1 record in the world, and I was bitching at, you know, Jimmy, our producer, saying, you know, this is what are we having hits with this stuff for? Why are we doing? And it's like, you know, when I think back on that, how stupid I was, you know, how stupid they must have. They were looking at me like, oh boy. They didn't even respond because it was so dumb what I was saying. You just never know, do you?
You never know.
Yep. Yes.
Question 67 and 68, my favorite Chicago song. We wouldn't have that queued up for tonight.
Let me see. Be interesting, wouldn't it? I probably could find it. I've got. I probably could get it up and try to play along with it. Let's see. If you want to hear it.
Great.
Good.